So, welcome to our Coffee and Hustle podcast today. We'll be discussing practical lessons in leadership. I am so excited. I have Greg Taylor joining us on our podcast today, and he is the author of Find Your Winning Edge. I'm an avid fan. I really love his newsletters when he comes out, his motivation's on point. And so I really want to talk today with him about that. And along with, he is the host of his own podcast, the Leadership Factory podcast. And he's been putting out some really great articles and subject lines that I think a lot of us should really take note on. So Greg is very passionate about empowering individuals, along myself as well, and to reach full potential, drawing from 35 years of experience. And so if you've got that many years of experience, we should know something, right?
The operative word there, should.
I'm going to start with you should know something by now, right, Greg?
I should know something. Yeah, I've made enough mistakes where, yes, I have learned something.
So I really want to talk about your mission. You are really here to really inspire other leaders and help us and guide us and motivate us to embark on the journey that we definitely do not want to take this alone, right? So you've really are this guide for a lot of us that are out there, and the content that you're putting out is so mentally helpful for a lot of us.
Well, thank
and
you.
I want to welcome you. So tell our audience a little bit about your business and how you motivate people around you.
A little bit about my name of my business is Winning Edge. So I was in the corporate world for 31 years. And I always wanted to be a coach. My dad was a high school football coach, so that's something I always desired to be. So I didn't take the route of coaching because I didn't see any money in it. So my dad struggled as a high school football coach, principal. They had 5 children, so I didn't want to struggle financially, so I didn't take that route. So I jumped in the business route. So in my journey, I started as a leadership trainee. I've been the owner of my own business for 8 years. I went from like zero to $20 million in 4.5 years. In the 8th year, we went to zero a heck of a lot faster. So like the missile went up and the missile came down. So then other than that, I've been an executive in transportation companies. And what I learned in those journeys, because success is a journey, not a destination. Okay.
Yes.
Because I had the Ricky Bobby mentality. If you're not first, you last.
Yeah.
Because I had to win at everything. I've been thrown out of every sporting event known to man. In high school, if I got beat in high school, or I played college football at Western Kentucky University, I'm fighting somebody. Because if you're not first, you last, right? I can't come in last. So that doesn't fit my identity. But
so okay, so wait a minute. So we talk about, what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about how, when we talk about winning, does you put that much pressure on yourself that you feel like you always got to be on top of your game? And when you lose, right, you feel like this failure. And so you got to figure out a way to overcompensate that. Is that something that how did you learn that? Because really, I mean, think about that. You went from high school in a situation that you were at to now this very successful businessman. You've really had to fail quite often and learn these techniques that you're teaching other people. So it's like you're leading other people. Learn from me. Is that what you're saying? Learn from me?
Boy, you just said a mouthful right there. I just got off a coaching call with an executive with Toyota, and I told him the biggest lesson in leadership I learned. Everybody's not me. Everybody's not you.
Right.
Because we all got our own personalities, and we all got our own life experiences, which that forms our belief system, which our behavior comes from.
I was
probably 42 years old before I got that. I mean, that's a long journey.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, back in the day, I mean, we're so fortunate now to have the leadership people around us that are teaching us to look for better ways to be better people, especially in our industry. So I do want to say that, reflecting back, I don't necessarily know if we had those types of role models today that we are in. Our younger generation are really getting a lot of the leadership scope of what we're teaching, what we should have learned a long time ago, right? But unfortunately, we're here
Well,
today to go, okay, we failed. We've done things we shouldn't have done. And, you know, so I think that when you're teaching those people, how do you convince them to be a better leader?
well, I'm see that's where the pressure's been taken off because my transformation is from a volcano to a missile. A volcano is all about me. If I don't get what me wants, I explode, right? Well, a missile, it's all about others. How can I help someone else? So when I do my individual coaching, leadership coaching, I look at who they are. I try to get them to understand who they are.
Not
Then
about
one of my
you,
coaches,
not so
this
much
this
about you, but who they are and break
who
it down
they
for
are.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, who are they? Or what journey have they been on in life?
Right.
What have they seen as a from zero to however old they are? My job is to pull out of them the great things that they can't see. So one of my clients called me a fisherman. So I'm on the riverbank and I'm in my bait's a magnet and my customer is the river. So I'm fishing out at my customer things that they can't see. So I lay them on the bankside. They come to the bankside and they look at all these things that I've uncovered. They're good, bad, and ugly. Now they get to pick them up and decide which ones do I need to take back with me on
I think
my
that I think
journey.
that's a great analogy on how you see someone sees you, right? You see them, and then they turn around and see you,
That's right.
and that's a great analogy of pulling something that you don't realize that you're doing. I think great leaders like you that are inspiring other leaders don't realize what you're doing and the mix that you're putting together to help us inspire us to become better people. I don't think you see that mix until you start talking to people, and then you realize maybe I do have a formula. I didn't realize I have a formula. Then I have a formula, and that is a gift to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because my definition of a leader is a person who can inspire another person to take a journey they're not going to take by themselves. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to come alongside them and inspire them to take that journey that they're not willing to take. And that's what my whole teachings are about, my speaking engagements about. How do you do that?
Well, I was going to mention to you. I was reading. I was watching actually one of your videos. It was called "Inspiring Growth," and the video really emphasizes like the importance of like the life learner embracing failure, and then the opportunity, and that opportunity to grow with that, including with honest, candid conversations. That video and just that one piece could be broken up into several different pieces, right?
Right,
But
right,
you threw three very valid points on inspiring growth, because somebody told me one day is that some people are a what we call an F or a G, and those that are in an F are considered to be fixed. They're not willing to change. They're not willing to grow. They're always going to be in that F category. Whereas a G, they're willing to grow. They're willing to learn. They're willing to bend and see their failures. How do you look at someone and go, maybe you're an F? How do I take you from an F to a G?
well, I have a mindset quiz on my website that they could take. Then it gives them an assessment, it gives them a score.
Yeah.
So I sat and talked to them about that. And you can pick up, because if you said the 4 letter words at my house, you got a spanking. Can't, don't, won't. Okay. If you said can't, my mom would knock you out. So I don't allow that with my two. I have two boys, 30, one's 30, one's 29, have 3 grandchildren. That's not allowed in my house.
Yeah.
Because if you allow someone to say, I can't do that,
They never
and you let
tried.
that go on, they're going to be an F, a fixed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, you can't, never could do anything, as my mom would say. I have
Right.
25 things that my mom spoke over in my life, and that's one of them. Don't
Yeah.
say that. Say, I can. Say, I can. You may not get to where everybody else is, and here's the key, but you're going to get better than what you currently are.
Well,
So we got
there
to
was
get
a
perfection and throw perfection in away, and you got to come back to growth. Am I growing? My famous saying is every time I say bye to someone, let's grow.
yeah. You say that at the end of your video.
Yeah, let's grow. You can
Let's
do that.
grow. Yeah.
Nobody stops you from doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I think
That,
the only person that does stop you is yourself.
oh
You
yeah,
know, that limitation. Well, I was going to say to you, that kind of reminded me at the time when I was young in dance school, and I had a dance teacher. Her name was Lindsay Hall, and she would line us up at the end of every Friday, and she would have this little blue ribbon, and she would walk by you, and you had to have your eyes closed, and you all you did was pray that you got that little, you were like, oh, can I be the winner today? Can I get that blue ribbon? Right. And she would walk in front of you, and you thinking, oh gosh, you're going to get it. And you realize that you didn't. But then the next week, what did you do? You worked even harder to
That's
get that blue ribbon. So, but she would say this, can't, never could, never would. And that was her motto. And it has stuck with me all my life.
right.
And so anybody that's in that can't mindset never tried. And so you don't know unless you try, right?
That's right. That's
But
good.
we're not perfect people.
No,
And that's where we have to look at other people that inspires us to be better. And so when I got a chance to interview you, I was so excited because there's, whether you know it or not, I actually read your newsletters.
awesome. Thank you.
You have changed your branding over the last several years, but it's really just stands out for me. And we were going to do a Better Together event with Mike Bean at Passion HR. And I was really looking forward to, getting to meet you as this leader, because you are definitely, I don't think you understand, is that some of the things that you put out really just pushes me to a different level too. So I have
Awesome.
to say, whether, we're in your day to day, those people that you're reaching out to, you do meet those qualifications when it comes to inspiring those other people.
Well, thank you very much. My mission in life, because when you find your purpose in life, you'll never go to work. Well,
Right.
I found my purpose in life. I was around 45 years old. I was reading a book called Halftime by Bob Burford. And it takes you through a lot of exercises because we want to go from success to fulfillment. I can have success and not have my purpose, which doesn't fulfill me. So I want fulfillment, which that gives me clarity that I'm here for a reason. Because my purpose to be on earth is to help people build hope and courage into their heart and their spirit so they can be the very best version of themselves. I used to cry myself to sleep at night thinking I wasn't good enough as a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 16 years old. Because I had an older brother that was really good in sports too, and I think I was never good enough for him. But my personality type, as my high school football coach said, that fueled you to be better than him because you outworked everybody. Because it comes back to what my mom says, you can go do the best you can, but you go do that. If that's what you want to do, you go do that. Don't worry about how good you are, just worry about being the best version of you. She didn't say in those words, but that's how I got this. This has been inbred into me. So
Well,
I'm honoring my mother by sharing everything that she's given to me,
yeah.
plus all of my experiences that I've had in my life.
I think that's such a true aspect when we're becoming more true to ourselves, because as we are growing up, we are trying to figure out who we are, right? And figuring our path and direction. And then as we get older, we tend to try to figure out how do we become a better person. And I think that in some ways or another, maybe we become better at inspiring other people to be better versions of us, like leveling it up, right? And I think that's a very true form. I mean, I think my dad was, a huge impact on my business. He was a huge, impression on my part. I don't think I would have launched my business. I don't think I would be here today if he probably wouldn't have believed in me or really pushed me to do this. And because I was like that, I was too scared. Go, okay, what would people think of me as a female in a very male dominated industry at that time? Because, 20 something years ago, there was not a lot of females in this industry. And so now it's becoming better suited for us to figure it out. But there was no guides for us. There were no books, right? And so I think we're trying to figure out how to become better leaders. And I guess I think I have a question with this is that, we're so busy, when we get busy, we get busy building the business, we get busy trying to bring in the clients, and then we're trying to bring people on and we're trying to train them. At some point in time, how do we know that things are, when things start falling apart and maybe the employee or the person that's part of your business is like, decided to go a different direction, and then you start questioning yourself, what did I do wrong? What did I say that was wrong? Did I not nurture enough? How do we learn as a leader? Because I don't want to consider myself as a boss, because there's a difference between the two, right? How do you convince people to go, hey, it's okay. You can still be who you are. There's nothing that you did wrong, but maybe these are the other things that you should have looked at. How do you guide them for that?
Right. Well, once again, success is a journey, not a destination. And life's a big lesson. We're learning a big lesson. Life's just one big education. And God has given us the most powerful thing in the universe, which is our brain. We got everything we need. We just got to tap into this. And science tells us that we probably only use like 15% of our brain. That's crazy. Think about the brain, the information that we have in our brain. Because I'm talking right now, I'm not thinking about what I'm talking about. I'm just talking. Because I got all these experiences, 60 years of experiences and emotions in my unconscious mind.
Yeah.
And things trigger those things. And what I got to do is make sure I control how I think. Because we become what we think about. Because then what I think about is what I'm going to behave like, and what I behave like is going to get a result. So if I want to change my result, I got to change my behavior. Well, to change my behavior, I got to change my belief. If I want to change my belief, I got to change the way I think. And I got to take control of what I'm putting in my brain, what goes through my eyes, my ears, what I see, how I feel, who I'm hanging around, because that's teaching me. Because my brain is forever learning. I'm learning different things as I go through the day. And I got to put myself in a situation where I'm learning what I want to learn that will take me to where I want to go.
Well, I think that's a great way of looking at things, because sometimes, like, I tell people all the time, like, even if you're in the fork of the road and you realize that maybe you don't want to go in the same direction anymore, but you have to wake up. You have to wake up. Like, you have to wake up going, okay, I've got to do this today. You can't keep saying it. You got to just do it. And realize that the life that you're choosing right now may not be the best decisions that you're making. But you don't have to stay in that same path. And I tell people all the time that you can make life-changing decisions that'll impact you that impacts you for the rest of your life. And the people that you're around that don't give you that same backup or positivity, and it can be even family members, you have to separate yourself out. And I know that sounds ugly, but there's certain points that you have to separate yourself out to find the goodness that you're looking for and the leader that you're trying to become. And you don't have to own a business to become a leader.
That's right.
You can be a leader in your own home.
There's leaders everywhere. One of my biggest leaders, two of my biggest leaders were my grandparents. I'll go to my grandmother. And neither one of them could read or write. They're from a coal mining camp in southeastern Kentucky. That's where I was born and lived until I was 3 years old. They're leaders. They inspired me to do something I can't do by themselves, because that's just a relationship. They spent time with me. If you want to affect someone's life, stop, STOP, spend time on people. They inspired me to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because I caught
did you know
myself
it
in
at the
bad
time, though?
situations, and I would say, I can't let them down.
Yeah. But
See the power of that?
Did you know that at the time? Did you
Oh,
know?
yeah, I knew I was already over the cliff, but some of them just kept going. I was like, I think I got to turn around.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to upset my two grandmothers.
So, and somehow that instilled that in the back of your mind. You're thinking, maybe I should stop and realize that I may not be needing to go in this direction.
That's right. Yeah, they made me feel special. They loved me right where I was.
Yeah.
They didn't judge me. They made me feel special and wanted and appreciated.
And that changed your whole life. And I think that's so important to really understand that it takes 1%. 1% can change your whole life.
Just one person saying, "I
Yeah.
believe in you," and
Yes.
speaking life into another person. See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm Greg Taylor. I'm a C+D student, and everybody, I don't care if you flunked out of school. I don't care if you went to school. It doesn't matter. You have the power to influence someone's greatness just by saying, "I see this is good about you," and that's all they may need. They just need encouragement, and encouragement's a free gift that we can give away every day, and it costs us nothing. It's just a word, encouraging word. I believe in you. Hey, you look good today. Good to see you. I
Or
mean, it's
even
just
just a
little
smile,
things. We make
right?
life too complicated.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that too, Greg, because I think that our society is, we're seeing so much more anxiety and stress levels are much higher. And I know that's probably because we're tending to be tuned into it a lot more and it's played over and over. And then you start thinking, well, maybe I've got anxiety and stress. But in some ways or another, we're kind of playing into that. And I think that's when we have to stop back and go, okay, what what am I hearing and who am I and does that affect me? And how does that work for me? And I think that in some ways or another, we have to get control of ourselves before we can improve other people.
Right. We got right here. We got to get control of our brain. When I looked in the mirror one day and I saw the enemy, it was me. There's your problem. When I'm 41 years old, you're the problem. You're the problem if your wife doesn't like you and your two boys don't like you. You're the problem. You went through a business failure. You're the problem. And when I can stand there and say you're the problem, now let's fix that problem. Because I'm a problem solver. But if you can't identify the problem, it's hard to fix the problem. The first step for me to become from a volcano to a missile was identify the problem. The problem was me. He was standing right in front of me. Then I had to go fix me. Now that I'm a missile, now I can help others.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I ever looked at it that way. Self reflection and being honest with yourself is probably one of the first steps that we have to make. And it's hard. So, how hard was that when you saw yourself in the mirror? Did you finally come to that realization of like, I've got to change something and it has to be me?
It's got to be
Was
me.
How difficult was that for you?
Oh, it's difficult. You got to lay down everything. You got to lay down everything you believed in. Look, let me say it. You got to lay it down. What is the right way to go about doing it? Well, first you got to figure out what do I want to accomplish. Well, I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to play in the NFL. So the guy in the mirror failed me at the NFL and he failed me in business. So why would I like the guy in the mirror? So that guy's creating havoc for me, but I don't even like the guy in the mirror. So maybe the first thing I had to do was like the guy in the mirror. Then I can like the guy in the mirror, and then I can tell him now, hey, you're the problem.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about you? So then I have to figure out what I want to become. Then I got to get around the right people, reading the right information, building the right morning routines. Because I established my routines. My routines will establish my future. Everybody, I'm going to say that again. I determine my habits, and my habits will determine my future. Because I got 3 power words. What do you focus, intentional, and consistency. What I focus on and what I do intentionally and what I do consistent is what I will become. But you got to know what your focus is. You got to have a purpose. Then intentionality is what are you going to do today? It's got to have a purpose behind it. Then be consistent with that. And something's going to change. I don't know what's going to change. See, we get so much anxiety in our country because I want what that guy's got. No, I want what's inside of me to come out so I can be who I am. I used to be that. I used to chase my brother. I used to worry about this house, this car, that coat, all those things that were bringing me happiness. It's all void. Once I've tapped into my purpose, so my wife, everybody thinks my wife and I are crazy. She's in real estate business here in Nashville now. So then I started a coaching business. We're both in our 50s. Well, people think we're crazy because I quit my top earning years were just coming to me. So I tapped out because I want to serve. I want my life to count based on what God's created me to do. My job is to help build hope and courage into people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
And
Now,
I
if I
think
can earn money, is that much more money?
Yeah.
because I'm being fulfilled every day. I never go to work. I'm already retired.
And I think that's such a great calling because you actually tuned into your calling and you were not afraid to step. I think a lot of people feel like they get caught up in a box and they tend to stay in that box.
Right.
But it's okay to redefine who you are.
Right.
And at any age, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's right.
It
That's right.
doesn't matter.
That's right. What do
And
you want?
what
What do you want?
exactly what do
What do you
you
want?
want? Because I think we get caught up in trying to impress people, go to networking events, handing out a business card, and but and true to nature, what are you trying to fulfill? And so we have to look at success as like, what do you want to make of that success? And how do you, because there's people have said things to me like, you're crazy. Why don't you do this? And you should be doing that. And you should be doing this. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be fulfilled and happy. I'm changing my model of who I am. And in tune, I can't do business the same way that I was doing. I have to go, this is where my heart's telling me to go. And you got to be in tune with that.
Oh,
That's a very hard thing to do. And there's some things that I've actually sacrificed. And a lot of times the people don't really understand it. But I feel like that sooner or later, maybe one day, they'll get it because I think it's so important to figure out who you are at every stage of life that you're at.
that's right. Who am? Who?
Yeah. Who
That's
are
right.
you? And I think a
Because
leader,
once I understand who I am, I can help myself
yeah,
instead of worry about everybody else that I can't affect. I don't control anybody. I don't control my wife. I don't control my two kids. I don't control my past bosses. I don't control my past teachers, coaches, and I was trying to control it. That's what stress is about. Because it's not about stress, it's a lack of purpose. That doesn't mean I don't have stress. I have anxiety. It's just, do I live in it or do I work through it
yeah,
and find a safe harbor where this is what I'm made to do?
yeah.
Now, does that get me to where I want to get to financially? That's when you just scratch your head and go, I don't know. But
Well, you know,
let's take that path, because sometimes we find where we want to go by getting on a path and taking off.
yeah,
Because everybody asks these entrepreneurs and these unbelievable successful people, did you write that plan out that way? And they just start laughing. And they go, I never had an idea that I would be over here doing this. I just took off.
yeah,
Because something will happen if there's action involved.
yeah,
But if there's just plans and no action, nothing can happen.
yeah,
The first step is where you're going to head to success at. Not talking about it. When you start taking a step every day with
yeah.
intentionality, focus, and consistency, you're going to end up somewhere. I never thought I'd be talking to Miss Carla today, but here I am.
Well,
I
you
never
know,
thought I would be transformed from a volcano to a missile. Here I am.
I think there's some of that you're saying in all honesty is that, you know, I never dreamed I was going to be a business owner. I never, back, I mean, come on. I mean, I remember there was this one day, very young, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, maybe seven. And I remember riding my big wheel in a little circle. And all I dreamed about was just, spending my time on that big wheel and thinking, where am I going to be in my life? You know what I mean? At 7 years old. And I never would have dreamed that I'd be here today. I never thought I would do a podcast, but here I am.
That's right.
I've met some amazing people in my journey. Here I am. But it only took one person to say, you can do this.
That's right.
Now, do you have self-doubt? Absolutely. Right?
Absolutely.
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 We are, self-doubt sabotages you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when you call up your best friend, your most confident person, and say,
Right.
is this going to be a good decision today? But the one thing you did say earlier in your podcast was forming really good habits. And if you don't have really good habits, like I have a certain habit, and that is when I go, my time outside of my company is spending time exercising mentally and physically. And I'm a different person when I'm outside in my gym working out. because mentally and physically it helps me start my day and prepares me for whatever may come my way. And so when you said forming those habits, that's where you write down your goals. Every 6 months, you reevaluate your goals and you sit down and do those things. And I think that the one thing that I think I notice now is that we do see a lot of people dropping, going from job to job to job now. And you see that a lot. And, I think on LinkedIn is that you always see an announcement every single day. I think there's not a day that goes by where I don't see somebody go, hey, I've got a new announcement. I'm at this new job, or I got this, you know what I mean? Which is great. I mean, you have the opportunity to do that. So we're looking at 30% of people now job hopping more now than ever. So in some ways or another, do they not have a good leader? Or maybe they're not happy with themselves, figuring it out. And either way, sooner or later, you got to find your path, right? And so I think that when you talk about leadership in itself, is like, how do you motivate people to become better leaders? How do you get them to go into that direction of believing in themselves? How do you tell them something that they may not realize they have? How do you do that, Greg?
To me, it's through, I call it insight discovery. I'm helping them discover all the talents that are within them through conversations, them telling me stories, me telling them stories. And I have a very strict process to go through, but it has a lot of flexibility because I'm trying to help the person across from me. So I got to be in tune to what they're saying and what they're saying that it's underneath that, so I can ask them another question. The greatest thing my inspirational leaders did for me to inspire me, they would ask me questions. So I have a gentleman that helps me write. Every time we start, I go, ask me that great question you always ask me. He goes like, do I have to do it again today? Yeah, I love it. It inspires me. You're calling me out. It says, what do you want to say? What are you trying to say here? Because I struggle putting my thoughts onto a piece of paper, so I need help. Another sign of a leader. You got to know what you're good at. You got to know what you're weak at. I'm weak at writing. So I have to get someone to help me. I'm so much better than I was. Because my wife taught me more about the English language and my two sons than anybody had. But I learned, you get the word learned, delegation in English in high school. I learned how to delegate my work. Now, is that a funny story or not? Depends on how you want to take that. Because I learned how to delegate my work. I'm good at delegating work out. Because we got to get the job done. Now, what do we got to do that? We got to get that done.
Well, I just love the way you put things together and organize it. And that's just years of learning to do that concept that you're building, right? And, becoming such a great leader, how do you accept your own failures and go, how do I improve from that? Do you look at your daily journal and go back and self-reflect of going, okay, I could have done this differently today?
No, that's a good, reflection is a powerful tool. You got to sit and reflect. And I've heard John Maxwell, I'm a part of John Maxwell's team, speaker, trainer, coach team, John Maxwell team. And he says, and I do this for my grandkids, if they do something, hey, what'd you learn? What'd you have fun at? So I do that for myself. What'd you have fun at doing today, Greg? And what did you learn today? Because every day's a day of reflection.
Yeah.
What did I learn today? Because if I'm a G growth mindset, I've
Yeah.
got to learn something today. Because then part of my thing, be your best, become the very best version of yourself. As I told my two sons, if you want to be the very best football player that you can be, before you go to sleep, ask yourself these questions. Did I get better? What did I get better at? Did I help somebody else get better? Did I solve a problem for someone? Did I honor everybody I come in contact with? If you could honestly answer, yeah, well, you got better today. You're a winner. Everybody can win.
And that's why
But
you
you got
call
to
it the
judge
winning edge.
yourself based upon your own potential.
Yeah.
See, my mom did a great job at that. It's your potential, not their potential. It's you that I'm worried. I'm not worried about anybody else because kids, I was a great deflector. As a child, I could deflect anything. I could argue with the best of them because it's somebody else's fault. And my mom would always bring it back to me. No, you're doing this behavior. Nobody's making you have this behavior. This is your behavior. Now, I love you as a person, but this behavior we're going to fix.
Is that a hard thing for people to accept? And in some ways or another, in today's society, is that accepting fault when it's time.
Oh, it's look, no, oh, look. If you can't, if you don't own it, you'll never fix it. And that's a mama says. I got 25 mama says. I heard it once because I'm a deflector. I'm a negotiator. I'm negotiating out of anything, right? That's the way I spent my first 42 years of my life negotiating out. What's the law? I ain't worried about the law. They'll have to catch me first. What's the punishment? I don't care about that punishment.
Yeah.
I'll blame it on somebody else. I'm
Yeah.
going to
It's somebody
deflect.
else's fault. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you really want growth and you want contentment and you want fulfillment and you want success, everybody's got their own definition in there. You got to learn how to coach yourself. Because if I can't coach myself, I will never be able to coach my wife and 2 kids. And basically, I had a friend to tell me that. Until you're good at yourself, inspiring yourself instead of beating yourself down, you can never help your wife and kids.
I mean, I think these are great points. I think these are great things that we should put in place, right, every single day. And whether you're a female, whether you're a male, you have to learn to figure out what makes you a better person to become a better leader. Whether you're owning a business, whether you're starting a business, and you're going to fail, you're going to fall on your hiney, you're going to get back up, and you're going to learn your lessons. People are going to come and go. What's the hardest part of that? Is you may lose some friends.
Right.
But were they really your friends in the first place? So you have to think about the support system that's set up, and you being that you've created something from things that you've learned. What an inspiring way to push yourself into this industry that you're in and motivate other people from your own life lessons. So I have a question. Does your sons, they try to get away with things and you're like, you catch them and you go, no. So do you teach them some of the hard lessons that you try to get away with?
I let their behavior be their own. I let their behavior be their own behavior because I used to think I should tell them I did this. I was like, no, this is just me personally. I would think if I tell them that, I'm really condoning that. So me personally, I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what I did.
Yeah.
So I chose not to tell them because that's basically me telling them it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know. I'm just telling you what I did. So I don't know if that's right.
Well, I think today's podcast I think it's very enlightening because we don't talk about self-reflection a lot. We don't really own up to our leadership and failures. And I think today's podcast is really just tuning into how to become a better person. When you're a better person, you become a better leader. And so yeah, go ahead.
To me, that's practical lessons in leadership is becoming a better version of you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not the best version of myself, how can I expect someone else to do that? If I'm not willing to take that journey of self-reflection, of personal accountability, how can I ever expect someone else? And that person that you're trying to inspire, they will see, know, and feel if you're doing that or not. You don't even have to tell them. They know if you're getting better or not. That I guarantee. I've had some great leaders, and I knew they were getting better, and I had some bad leaders, and I knew they never worked on themselves by the aggravation they would have. And they would have an F, a fixed mindset. The ones who inspired me were always working on themselves, and they were under a G, a growth mindset.
Do you ever fire any of your fixed? Like if you got a person that inquired with you and says, Greg, I need some help, and they're not willing to grow, how do you tell them, say, you know what, there's nothing more that I can do for you? Have you ever had those cases before?
No, they kind of quit on their own.
Yeah.
Because I can sense disconnection where they're not talking as much as they used to talk. And I would say I'm losing them. And I always go back and I don't reflect on them. I go back and reflect on myself. And I always view it, you got too aggressive. Because I've learned to say, hey, do you mind if I asked you a question?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to threaten anybody. That's not my heart. But even though my heart says I'm not trying to threaten you, you could perceive it to be a threat.
Yeah.
But that's not what I intended to do. So I got to be because body language is where people learn 58% of what you said. So my body language is everything. Because I was just looking at myself at the beginning. I was like this. And I could hear my wife say, Greg, you're looking like you're mad at everybody. So I put a little smile on my face, put a smile on your face.
You
Because
know,
nobody wants to be around somebody that's not smiling.
well, I'm sorry. I'm like that too. I walk around sometimes. I'm like this. And my husband's like, "Are you not happy today?" I am very happy.
Right.
I
Well,
am very.
that's right.
I am
'Cause-
so happy. But that's, my wheels are always turning, and I'm always got conversations going on in my brain, and so I'm always like, okay, self motivating myself today. Today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna get that great phone call. I'm gonna close that great, project, or I've got some great people working for me. You know what I mean? I'm always kind of self positively thinking those things, because I think if you think it, it's gonna happen.
We
You know?
become what we think about.
Yeah. So
It's Earl
I
Nightingale
speak
back
out
in the
loud.
40s.
Yeah, I speak out loud and go, okay, what can I do to make this is going to be a good day, even when it's not a good day. It's still going to be a good day. Something's going to be good out of it. You know what I mean?
My older brother would always say, just keep lying to yourself, Greg. I can win. I can beat
Yeah,
that guy. I can whip that guy. I can win the game. They go, because people will look at me and go, well, you're too little to do this. Well, I go, that's nonsense. It's sort of like my two sons playing basketball. They're the littlest people on the floor. And someone asked me one time, they said, do your boys know they're little? I said, no, don't tell them.
yeah,
Because they both played college football. And my youngest one he's in his 7th year in the NFL. He's 5'8".
wow,
You don't tell me I'm little.
yeah,
You're robbing me of that child's talent.
yeah,
Because I told him, hey, whatever you want to be, go for it. I got you. I'll support you. But understand, you may not get there, but it's okay.
yeah,
But the exhilaration of going for something, getting all in, and you're going for your dream. Because I didn't get my NFL dream, I didn't get my business dream, so I'm trying it again.
yeah,
But I lost, so what now what? Because I
right,
can win through adversity. Don't say WTF, say WTA, win through adversity. I'm only going to get better if I fail. I can't lose at anything.
yeah,
Because freedom is when a person is in a priceless position where they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. What do you got to lose?
yeah,
Your pride, your ego,
yeah,
what somebody may say about you that you lost something. What did I lose? Now I
right.
know more. Now I can grow more.
Well, I mean, today I think it's just so important to really talk about that, the skills and the leadership aspect of what you do. And that's the reason why I really enjoy some of your stuff that when you send your stuff out, I'm just like, I'm like, what is he doing today? You inspire people that you don't know that you're inspiring. And I think that's
Well,
so
thank you.
important to know that. So I want to say thank you for coming on our podcast today and sharing your knowledge, sharing your enthusiastic, because I was not disappointed, and you're just so into what you do. You believe in it. You have passion. How do people find you online?
Uh, I'm Greg at Winning Edge on all the social media platforms. My webpage is findyourwinningedge.com. I have a podcast, the Leadership Factory podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and so love to connect with you. I'll just give you my phone number, 318-230-6481. Hey, let's play.
Call today.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Just my last thing.
Yeah.
As I told my two sons, why not you? Somebody's going to do what Carla's doing. Why not you? Why not your daughter? Okay. Somebody's going to do what the president of General Electric is doing. Why not you? Somebody's going to play in the NFL. Why not you? Somebody's going to be a school teacher. Why not you? A football, whatever that is, write it down, hashtag WN in your initials. Why not you?
Yeah.
Because you have the power, which is your brain. You just got to tap into it, and it's built for love and growth. You have everything you need right here. It doesn't matter what anybody's ever told you your whole life. Because I understand people have negative overtones in their life. They got to grow through. They got to rise above it. That's what leaders are for. I'm here to help rise people above where they say I can, not I can't.
Yeah.
Because we need to get people. We need to get our kids to say I can, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am appreciated, and the adults need to help them do that.
I think that it just giving people an opportunity to see their potential is so important. Um,
That's
you can't help your environment. You can't help your upbringing, but what you
right.
can do is reach out to people that take you just say that one little word that you may be looking for, to push you in a good direction. And hopefully, maybe people listening to this will be inspired to get off their heinies or big rumps. I mean, but put on your big britches, because
Oh, most.
the road's not easy, right? And we all
Oh,
have a story to tell about where we came from to where we're at today. And I'm like you. I was in school, and I'll close it on that. When I was in school, we didn't have teachers that believed in some of us in school, right? And we weren't looked at as the topped kids in school to graduate, that were not expected to amount to anything. But yet here we are. Yet here we are.
yet
So when somebody
here
says
we
you
are.
can't do something, you can't do that. You can't do something. You work even harder to prove them wrong, because you can do it. And you may have to make some decisions that might be different than your initial, idea, but you are able and capable of being
Amen.
anything you want to be. So I
That's
want
good.
to say thank you so much, Greg, for being on our podcast today. I hope that maybe we could do one again soon.
Sure, let's
Maybe.
grow. Let's
Okay,
grow.
let's grow.
Let's grow.
Thank you.
Come on, we can do
Grow.
this.
Yes, I love it. So I just want to tell you thank you for joining us. Come on again. Share some of your amazing knowledge. I know you're holding back on your energy. I can see it.
Yeah, I could hear my
I'm just
wife
waiting
say,
for you to
"Hey,
come through the
but
screen. I'm just
yeah,
waiting for you to come through the screen.
my
Through
wife's
the
going,
screen.
settle down, settle
No,
down."
I mean, come on, be you. And I think that's just come on through the screen.
No, but thank you for asking me. I've enjoyed. I hope people got something out of that, so they
Oh,
can be the very best version of themselves. Don't let anybody stop you from being the best version of you.
thank you so much.